Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Sorry I'm late. I was busy running. You're probably wondering why I'm here. Well, it's actually quite simple. We're going to talk about the country Iran. Now, you might have mixed feelings about the country Iraq. You might not even care about the country Pakistan. But trust me when I say that this video on the country Saudi Arabia is one of the most important things you'll see today. So, let's get into the backstory. It all began the day I was born. September 12th, 2001 to be exact. The Disney movie Prince of Persia, The Sands of Time, starring Jake Gyllenhaal, had just been released into theaters. It was from that day forward that my parents decided to raise me for the singular purpose of making this video on Iranian history. Well, let's go further back. The first book of the Old Testament, Genesis chapters 3 and 4, detail a strange occurrence happening in the year 1951 AD. Don't bother fact-checking it. I know it's correct. Basically, there's this dude, Mohammed Mossadegh, and he was the prime minister of Iran at the same time as the actual rulers, the Pahlavi dynasty.
It's me, a Mossadegh. I love being a social justice warrior. Woohoo!
I usually do this.
You're right. I should nationalize the oil industry. What a great idea. God save the Queen. Soil me bridges. We own the oil. We cannot afford to let this happen. I'm putting on a blockade.
Might you help me stage a coup and infiltrate a foreign Middle Eastern country? No.
But they'll turn into communists if you don't. Well, I don't know, guys. I don't think this is such a good idea.
Pahlavi, we're gonna give you a choice. If you choose to cooperate, we might just not slit your throat. Overall, 1951 was a pretty decent year, so it goes in the B tier. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, every single important idea, individual, and historical event is being placed into a tier list to determine which is the best of them all. S tier is best, F tier is worst. Don't tell me you've never played Super Smash Bros. Before. Mossadegh nationalizing the oil industry happened in 1951 also, so we gotta rank both of those. Mossadegh's decision was pretty good, A tier. Stay tuned for more updates. Please keep watching. It gets better, I promise. Back to our fun history lesson. Let's move on to the year 1953. Operation Ajax had just been carried out after an epic struggle between Mossadegh and Pahlavi. The latter was overthrown in a coup, staged by the masterminds of the US and Britain. Operation Alex. Named after me, of course. I can only get so famous. Despite what it stood for, it was an impressive military operation. And seeing the US have the audacity to do a thing like that earns my respect. B tier. Now back to history. After the coup, Fazlollah Zahidi, as shown here, was proclaimed prime minister. And Mossadegh was thrown into jail for 162 weeks.
Glove.
Fazlollah Zahidi. I've never heard of this man before in my life. D tier for both events, for both of them. 1953 sucky or sucks. E tier. After Fazlollah took power, the CIA worked again with Iran, along with
Israel? To create the Savik Secret Police, an Iranian intelligence unit responsible for the execution and interrogation of thousands of political dissenters.
I didn't do nothing!
Fellas, pull up his search history.
No!
Savik. What a cool name. I like the cut of his jib. E tier. Stupid You know what? Just throw the whole year in there. 1957 sucks! I hated your movie!
Once Savik was formed, Pahlavi the Shah launched a quite aggressive white revolution, where the goal was to introduce every Iranian citizen to the YouTube channel PewDiePie. But that plan failed, so he just switched gears to modernize the entire country. As you can tell, it was very unpopular. Nationalist Ayatollah Khomeini was arrested in one of the crackdowns.
I'll be back. My character is important. I'll be back in the next installment.
The Savik became very important to Pahlavi. They were the ones that were needed to stop all opposition.
You guys ever heard of this guy, John F. Kennedy? So, 1963, the year Kennedy was assassinated. D tier, not that bad. Unfortunately, it was only a few years after the campaign that Mossadegh died while under house arrest. It's time to give Mossadegh his rightful place in the tier list. I'm putting you in the A tier, my man, for amazingly, awesomely adequate. You earned it. But the year 1967 sucked, F tier. By 1978, the Iranian citizens were already getting sick of Pahlavi's garbage. Martial law was imposed, but hundreds of demonstrations and protests occurred. Pahlavi was finally defeated. He and his family were exiled in the Iranian Revolution. So, the Pahlavis finally got out. I mean, it could have been worse. B tier. The year 1978 was pretty middle of the road. I can't even remember what happened that year. C tier. Once the Shah was gone, a new leader rose up in the ranks. I told you I'd be back. Bonjour. Ayatollah was back from his exile in France. He declared Iran to be an Islamic republic. He immediately introduced Islamic law and Iran came under heavy religious control. Hey, Ayatollah, can my girlfriend go outside? Say psych right now. So, Ayatollah. What a nice guy, am I right? I'm gonna put him in the E tier for His actions, on the other hand, I'm gonna have to put in the F tier. For freaking fantastic! What a guy! My guy, high five! Eventually, Pahlavi was let into the US to get medical care. Please, I have a wife and children! Good. We'll come for them next. Now give me $3,000 for your doctor's note. Later that year, Islamic militants stormed the U.S. Embassy and took 52,000 Americans hostages. Okay, it was only 52, but you know for a fact that Americans' lives are worth more.
Give us back the Shah. He needs to face trial.
Why am I being brought into this?
Shut up!
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I was busy listening to that new Final Fantasy song on my hot new $150 AirPods. So, the hostage crisis happened. Speaking from personal experience, I can definitely say that it was impressive. D tier. For detrimental to my self-esteem, I could have done a better job. 1979 was the year all hell broke loose. One of the worst years. F tier. Maybe even double F tier for Final Fantasy. Once 1980 rolled around, a new president was elected, and Pahlavi died of cancer in Egypt. As we gather here to celebrate the life of Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, I have to admit, if he were in school, Mr. Bailey would have given him a solid C, so he's going in the C tier. Later that year, Iraq invaded Iran over a simple territory dispute. Nothing too bad. Iraq had the support of the US. In the meantime, Iran started gaining Middle Eastern allies, and the regime began pushing hostile propaganda against Western civilization. I don't like the looks of this. Alright. It's finally time for the final listing. The war finally started. Obviously, I can't tell the difference between Iran and Iraq, so I'm gonna put them in the C tier, for I can't see between them. 1980 wasn't a bad year by any terms. It's just that it belongs in the D tier, because it sucks. And there you have it. Iran's entire history. It's a shame they were wiped from existence in 1981, but I suppose it's even more of a miracle that they were brought into existence in 1949. There's something we forgot. There's nothing in the S tier. The highest one. Now, why is that? Well, it's because there's one historical event pertaining to Iran that we have not discussed yet. There is one, the absolute greatest thing to ever happen to this country is this video. That's right, I, Alex Odell, single-handedly saved the entire country of Iran. You're welcome. Now, if you excuse me, I have to go do what the title of the video says I'm gonna do.